This is a quick review of this week's target skill. We didn't really get a chance to talk about it much in class, but it's very simple, so I know you can do it no matter what. So the simple is the lesson is very easy. We're going to learn basically when to use who versus whom, and when to use I versus me. It's very simple. If you can pick out the subject and an object of a sentence, then you're good to go. So first, I'm just going to make up a sentence. I saw the dog. Okay, so you know just the easiest way is find the verb. So saw, easy. So now you have to say who did the seeing, who saw it, and that's I. So I is the subject. The subject is always the doer of the verb. So I'm just gonna take my notes here, and then what was being seen? That was the dog. So the dog is the object. So the object is the recipient of the verb. Very simple. So you have to understand that to understand who and whom. So who is always the subject. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to do that. All right. Okay. Whom is always the object. So when you have a blank in a sentence, like for instance, okay, I just made this up, so it's kind of weird. But if you're trying to decide who or whom, first you have to determine if it is the subject or the object. That will tell you which of these to use. So the verb is saw. So I saw the man, blank saved me. So the verb is saw. So who is doing the seeing? That's I. So we automatically know I saw the man who saved me. Okay, that's fine. The man was seen. But now we have another clause here. So saved is another verb. So me was saved. So I already know me was the object, which means the blank must be the subject. So I saw the man who saved me. Another way, this is really easy, if you think of he and him. Basically, when you have a blank like this, ask yourself, would it make more sense to replace the blank with he or him? I saw the man, he saved me, or I saw the man, him saved me. He sounds better, so it's he, who. The way you can remember it is whom and him both end in an M, so they're kind of linked. So just to make it clear, who and whom. Who is the subject, whom is always the object. Same thing with he and him and she and her, and then also I and me, which we'll get to in a second. But basically just ask yourself, would you say he or him? If it's him with an M, it would be whom. If it's he, then it would be who. I and me is also the same exact principle. So you just got to find the verb and then realize, is the blank the subject of that verb or the object? If it's the subject, it's going to be I. If it's the object, it's going to be me. So people use this very incorrectly a lot. They'll say I when they really should say me. For instance, oh, Mrs. Barwinski saw Sarah and I. People say that and it sounds right, but it's not true. Saw is the verb, I'm the subject because I'm the one who saw you. So Mrs. Barwinski saw, and then you and Sarah are both the objects of the verb. You're being seen. So it can't be I because I is only the subject. It has to be me. Another way, you could cross out Sarah and then what would sound better? Mrs. Barwinski saw me or Mrs. Barwinski saw I? It would obviously be me. So just remember, same thing with who and whom. I is the subject. Me is the object. Very simple.